guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Tiny Vegan, and if you haven't been here before, please like and subscribe if you like to. It really helps my channel and I really appreciate it. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. So, in today's video, we're doing myths about veganism. So, I'm enjoying these sit-down videos, so we're just rolling with it. Also, because I'm not going shopping as much, I don't have as many opportunities to go food shopping because of lockdown, obviously, you know. So, myths about veganism. I'd say most of these are like generic myths about veganism that almost every vegan sort of understands and like has the same opinion, because it's not really opinions. Because I was going to put a few in there and I was like, oh no, I won't do that because I've already done unpopular opinions about veganism. These are more like facts, so let's get right on into it. So number one, vegans are deficient in, say, calcium, iron, protein, etc., B12, all that kind of jazz. And I am proof that that's wrong, and I know most vegans are proof that that's wrong, as long as you're not necessarily like a junk food vegan. I had a blood panel test taken not that long ago, and my levels for everything, including B12, were all better than average. So I'm proof that that's not true. And if you talk to a lot of vegans, they take more care with their diet, thinking that they need to be more careful about it, so they end up eating 10 times healthier than they did when they're a meat eater or vegetarian. So the likelihood is that your blood panel will probably come back better than it was before you were vegan, because you're more mindful about what you eat. Number two, soy is environmentally worse than dairy. So you can look this up for yourself. You can go onto Earthling Eds, for instance, his YouTube. You can just look it up on YouTube, Google it, and there will be statistics saying that that's wrong. But obviously, if you have an agenda and you think, I guess that I have an agenda, don't I, because I'm vegan, so I'm obviously going to believe that that's right. But I think that a lot of the time people do have agendas, because everyone has their own opinions about things, and they will think that soy is environmentally worse than dairy because they put blinkers on themselves, because they don't want to believe the reality is that soy is better for the environment than dairy. Yes, it has its downsides, but everything does. Like, obviously soy and almond are going to have their downsides, but dairy has an even bigger downside. Just look it up, do some googling, do some research, and you'll find the facts. This one annoys me wonderfully. So number three, if we didn't eat and breed cows, pigs, sheep, then there would be no cows, sheep, pigs or chickens. Right, yes, there would be a decreased number of cows, pigs, chickens, because you aren't eating them, so you wouldn't be overbreeding them to the standard that we are now. But obviously that's like saying if we don't do dog fighting, there's going to be no dogs. Like, people still want dogs as pets, so they still buy dogs. Do you know what I mean? Like, people still want sheep as pets, people still want cows as pets. Like, I'd buy a cow, I'd buy a sheep. So it's completely factually wrong. I'd rather that if I was a cow, sheep, pig, or just who I am today, I'd rather not have been born at all than to be born to die and to be eaten. And I'm pretty sure anyone would choose that, because what was the point in going through all that suffering? You might as well have never been born at all. Number four, veganism isn't for children or pregnant women. So this is completely wrong, and even like websites which aren't based around veganism say that this is wrong, that it's not true, that it's not unsafe for children or pregnant women to follow a vegan diet. However, you have to think about it like it's just, veganism is just like anything else. It's just like being a vegetarian, it's just like eating meat, because if you're not mindful about what you're eating, you will become deficient in things, and then it could be dangerous. But you can be a meat eater who only eats at like McDonald's and KFC, and therefore as a pregnant woman or as a child, you're just as much at risk than if you're a vegan who wasn't mindful about what they eat. All you ate was junk food as a vegan, then yes, you probably would be deficient in things, and it wouldn't be good for your body, and it wouldn't be safe. But that's not because of veganism, that's because of your choice about what you eat, because you're not being mindful. The same could go if you're a vegetarian who only ate junk food. If you're a meat eater who only ate junk food, only went to McDonald's, only went to KFC, then you would also be deficient as much as the vegan who ate only junk food. So the key there is just that it's as safe as any other diet, but you just have to be mindful and make sure that you're getting in all your nutrients and you're having a very balanced diet. So number five, veganism is boring. And we know this is a myth, come on guys. Like, let's be real, they've just brought out vegan mint chocolate ice cream. We now have vegan Horlicks. We now have an instant Galaxy vegan, like, hot chocolate powder. We have chocolate milkshakes, Mars flavour, Bounty flavour, Galaxy flavour. We have new Galaxy vegan chocolate come out. We have everything. And I can't even stress this enough. Like, you can't even imagine how hard it was unless you've been vegan for this long. 5 years ago to be vegan, it was so hard. I didn't even know these things existed. So veganism is the opposite of boring. If you ate a boring diet when you're a meat eater and vegetarian, then you probably eat the same things when you're a vegan, and then yes, it probably would be boring. But you decide what you eat, and there's so many options there now that the options aren't boring. It's up to you how you make your food and what you eat. Number 6, honey is vegan. I'm not judging anyone, you know, you do you. If you're a vegan who eat honey and you call yourself a vegan, then each to our own, you know, you do your thing. To me, eating honey isn't vegan, but I'm not gonna by any means go up to someone and say you're not vegan if you eat honey. You or whatever you call yourself, do you know what I mean? You're making an effort, you're trying to make an effort. I always say, go check out Earthling Eds videos on honey, which I will actually put in the description box. I'll put a link there if you wanted to go and check that video out, because it's actually really interesting. I was a bit, I don't know, up until recently, I was like, I don't think honey is vegan, but I was like, I don't think I really knew why honey wasn't vegan. So that video really helped clear it up for me. I'd say just go and watch some videos, just like you probably did when you were going vegan and you were trying to whittle out dairy. Do exactly the same things for honey, and you'll probably become enlightened because you're open to enlightenment because you're vegan in the first place. Number 7, every vegan is healthy. This is the biggest lie. Like, don't ever start on a vegan lifestyle because you think that you will magically get healthy and you'll magically be slim and lose weight, or you'll magically lower your cholesterol and get rid of your type 2 diabetes. That's completely unrealistic. That's not really going to happen unless you adjust your diet. You can't just have only eaten, let's use the example of McDonald's and KFC as a meat eater, and go, okay, well, I'm going to go vegan now because I know it'll get rid of my type 2 diabetes, I'll not be obese, my blood pressure will go down, all these like health miracles, and then you eat exactly the same things as you ate as a meat eater, but the vegan alternatives, and all you eat is KFC and McDonald's, but the vegan one. You're not going to get rid of your high cholesterol, your obesity, or your type 2 diabetes. The only way that you can do that is by adjusting how you eat. And that's not just adjusting to a vegan diet, that's actually making healthier choices. Making sure that you have your upwards of 5 a day. You don't just want 5 a day, you need like 10, 15 a day, you know, eating as many fruits and vegetables, pulses, legumes, having a whole foods based diet. That is what will change and turn your health around, not eating a junk food vegan diet. So definitely not every vegan is healthy. That's a massive common misconception. I feel like people always think of veganism as either one of two extremes. It's either they are extremely healthy and every vegan is just so healthy, you know, you eat vegan, you can eat whatever you want and you'll still be healthy. You can have jammy dodgers for breakfast, lunch and dinner and you will still be healthy. That's one lie. And the second lie is that veganism is unhealthy, and that's a lie as well. It's exactly the same as being vegetarian or meat eater. You can be healthy and you can be unhealthy on those diets. Number 8, veganism is a diet. We all know that's a lie, and that's definitely not true. So although I refer to it as a diet, I say following the vegan diet, that's not, you know, that's not what I mean. I obviously don't think that veganism is a diet. Veganism is about what you wear, about what you put on your skin, really about how you live your life. It's a massive lifestyle change becoming a vegan if you're properly strict about it. And it doesn't mean that you can never wear the leather boots that you already have in your cupboard, and you can't wear wool that you already have in your cupboard. In my opinion, carry on wearing the things that you've already bought because you've already supported that industry. You might as well not waste it and carry on using it. Obviously, if the idea of leather boots now disgusts you, you have to throw them away. You do you. Also buy them from a charity shop because you're supporting that charity, especially if it's an animal charity. It's going back into good, in my opinion. It's just about having a more compassionate life. People need to remember that plant-based, to me, plant-based is veganism without the lifestyle. It's just the diet. That's what plant-based is to me. Number 9, veganism is for privileged people. So I hear this all the time. I hear a lot of arguments. I feel like quite a few arguments that people say against veganism is that veganism is just for privileged people and that we don't have any idea of how hard it would be to be vegan in a third world country, etc. And no, I do understand that I don't have any conception of what it's like to live in a third world country. A lot of people who say that veganism is for privileged people, they come from a privileged background. Just from being born in a Western country, that in itself is privileged, is it not? Everyone who I've ever talked to who's used the argument veganism is for privileged people have been born in England. Well, no, British people. You yourself are privileged just for where you were born. So I don't agree with that at all, because if you're going to not call yourself privileged when you live in a Western and were born in a Western country, then okay, that's fine. But you probably shop in the same supermarkets that I do, but you just pick a different option. We're not talking about people who live in third world countries. That's a completely different discussion. We're talking about people who are in Western countries and who have the same options that I do and you do, that have the same options that everyone does in Western countries. So we probably shop in the same shops. All I do is I go to the vegan section and you go to the meat section. There's so much food being grown in third world countries for our cattle, for our middle cow, which we then consume the cow. All those crops are being exported away from poor countries for us to eat. And that's just wrong, because just by eliminating the cow and by feeding the world with those crops, you could feed about 3 times, I think it is, the world's population. So number 10. Veganism is a fad or a trend. So veganism, if it's a trend, it's a trend which has been going on for actually a very, very long time. Like, I've watched like videos on people who've been vegan since the 80s, and you know, what is it, 40 years on, it's not really a trend, is it? It's a lifestyle, and people have carried on that lifestyle and not strayed away because they connect with it so much. So I feel like because the people who go vegan feel so strongly about it and connect so much with veganism, they are not going to jump off this bandwagon of veganism. So it's not going to be a trend. It's going to carry on going, because if you feel passionately enough about veganism to want to be a vegan, then you're probably not going to like stop being a vegan in like a year, are you? You'll probably still feel strongly about it in a year and carry on veganism. So it's definitely not a trend, and I definitely don't think it's going to stop. Number 11 is vegans can't have pets. For me, this is a myth. I think it's definitely a grey area. I think it usually is non-vegan people saying that vegans can't have pets, which for me is a massive myth. But my opinion on that is that adopt, don't shop. I don't really think it's vegan to buy a dog, let's say, from a pet shop, because you know that that puppy has come from a place of suffering, because it's come from a puppy farm or a puppy mill. So its mother has been bred till she dies and her spine breaks. It's being kept in tiny crates. It probably has a lot of health problems. You're supporting a negative, abusive industry. So I don't think it is vegan to shop. I think it's vegan to adopt, because by adopting, that animal is already in the world. You're just making that animal's life better. It's exactly the same concept as not buying leather shoes, brand new Doc Martens for instance, because you are directly supporting that industry. Like, let's say by buying it from a charity shop, you're supporting the charity shop and you're saying, okay, you know, these have already been made, but I'm giving this money to the charity shop, so I might as well buy them, make some use of them. It's exactly the same concept. So I think that it is very vegan to adopt. I think it's very compassionate to adopt, but I don't think it's vegan to shop. And by shop, I also mean from backyard breeders, or if their dog just had, you know, a litter because it accidentally got pregnant and then they need to get rid of the puppies. That's different. We're talking about actual backyard breeders who are like small puppy mills. So number 12, veganism is more expensive. So I was thinking about this last night and I was like, this is not right, because if you think about it, right, I always think that vegan alternatives are expensive because my family never had them, because my mum doesn't like fake meats. So we never had them in the house. So I never saw how much, I don't know, fishless fingers or like a fake steak were or something like that. I never saw how expensive they were. I go into shops and I see like, oh, the vegan steak's £3 or £4. I'm like, that's so expensive, I'm not going to buy that. But then you look at the actual steaks, like proper meat steaks, they are £3 or £4 as well. So if you're a meat eater who's used to buying those things, you're just spending exactly the same amount of money, but in a different place. I don't buy the fake steaks because I'm not used to that sort of prices. I'm used to buying things like lentils and chickpeas and making like dinners from scratch on a mainly like whole foods basis. So that's the kind of prices that I'm used to, and they are naturally cheaper than something like buying fake sausages. So if you actually compare like with like, because vegan food, let's be honest, the fake food, like fake meat and like yogurts and all that kind of stuff, it's of a higher quality. So obviously it's going to be more expensive because you don't really get poor quality vegan food. I know you can get vegan food which doesn't taste nice, but it's always higher quality, more likely to be independent businesses bringing out that vegan food. You're not comparing like by like. If you're comparing something like, I don't know, Morrison Savor steak, if that even exists, to like a Wicked steak, if that exists, like this is just examples, Wicked is a good quality brand. So obviously the Morrison Savour steak is going to be a lot cheaper than the Wicked steak, but that's because the Wicked steak is good quality. So you've got to compare not with a Morrison Savour steak, but with a better quality steak, and then you'd have like with like. So I think it's the same with like milk. If you're buying the cheapest milk on the market, then no, there isn't really a vegan option for that. I guess there is. There's like the UHT long life soy milk, for instance, and they're literally the same price. But if you're comparing like the refrigerated Alpro milk, you have to compare it with a good quality cow's milk. A lot of the time vegan stuff is just of higher quality, so it will be more expensive. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comment section below like what you think on these topics, what other myths you've heard about veganism, and I hope you have a lovely week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Let's all fly together.